And like I say too, the actual astronauts that actually went with me actually were before Gus Grissom and everyone else. That's kind of why they said that we didn't actually go to that the United States didn't actually go to the moon because well, you didn't really. You went to space and that's about it. And it actually probably happened before Kennedy, before everyone, So those astronauts, and then, like I say, um, there's this big space program where everyone was trying to get to space, and I chose like some people from Russia and some people from America, and the Russian astronauts they killed like three of them or two of them, and then tried to replace them, and we were like, no, we already picked those people, they already trained for it, they're going or no one's going. So because they were like, well, those people died and are gone, and we got some other ones. It's like, no, there's no putting in your people at the last minute. We already picked those people are going or no one's going. So because they were trying to get their people in there at the last minute because they thought that was just a space program, and then somehow they figured out that I was going to pick them up. So anyway, in the end, I was just like, let's just get them. But they actually did fly to space, I believe, and then I picked them up and took them. I took all of them at the same time, all 12 or all 7 of them, basically. And then later on, like I say, we brought them back and drop them off or put them back, let them re-enter or whatever. I forget exactly what the details were, but like I say, and then they would do reports with the wives, and the wives would be like, "That's not my husband. What are you talking about?" And be like, "Yes, that's your husband, the astronaut. What's it like living with a real life legend?" And the wife would be like, "That's not my husband," because their husbands were all still in jail or gone or dead. So and they were just like I say, JFK or Nixon was like trying to get the news to basically the news reports would be like because these other people, these other guys had basically, they were still holding the astronauts, or still holding them, basically because they didn't want them telling about me or anything, so they were holding them in prison forever, and they probably died in jail or whatever, but they had met me anyway though. But the wives were like, they'd be like, "So what's it like living with a real life legend that's been to space?" And the wives would be like, "That's not my husband." And and what's it like for you, being a real life legend or whatever. They were doing this thing. It's really cheesy if you look back in 1950 or 1940 or something like that. And the guys would be like, "Well, yes, it was great. Space was wonderful. Blah blah blah," and it was all a fake lie. That wasn't her husband, and that was actually just some guy that the guy would. They'd be like, it was so cheesy because the guy would show up with them, and then they would be like, "And what does your husband think?" And then like turn to the guy, like she'd be like, "It's not my husband," but they always edited that out. So anyway, there's a lot of editing and stuff between 1940 and 1950 where, and like I say, it didn't really work. It just looked really bad, and I was like, "Wow, that's just weird." So anyway, the actual astronauts that met me probably died in jail or whatever. But enough of the other astronauts because, like I said, they went back to space all kinds trying to find me or trying to find us, and it's like I'm gone. I took my people and that's it. And there's lots of video of them, and there's pictures of the 1.5 sitting with astronaut on the thing because they came and visited and stuff like that because people of Earth finally wanted to meet them and all that. And then they tried to capture the 1.5s. It's like they tried to capture a 1.5 advanced race life forms. It was not pretty, I'm sure. Anyway, like I say, it's just ridiculous, and just everything is just so much ridiculousness that it's like and then you have like Nixon and everyone else like running around, the Pope running around, and everyone else. It's just like this whole nightmare, and everything else, and mostly it's a nightmare for everyone on Earth, and it's just like a bunch of people with guns. So yeah, anyway, they thought they could get to space and then beat me and kill me or whatever, but that wasn't really going to happen. So anyway, they thought that they could get me back like long time ago, and it's like, nope. Nope, I went out and created 300 more galaxies afterwards. After I came here to Earth or whatever, and then they tried to kill me or whatever, I created 300 more galaxies, and like I said, there were people that actually got themselves cloned because they were trying to get to me or trying to get themselves to me to or whatever. Like I said, there was like 3 JFK presidents all in a row. It was ridiculous. It's like, how many times are you gonna pretend to be president? And that's why I say for a while there, JFK was going, "I am immortal, I am immortal." It'd be like, "I am immortal, I don't age at all," and then like one of them would go off, and then the next one because they had them 2 years apart, so they would just bring up the next one, which is a clone, and they'd be like, I am immortal. I am the immortal ruler. And it was JFK. That there was 4 or 5 or 6 JFK or 8 JFK clones all in a row, 2 years apart. So they just, so it seemed like he wasn't aging. So it'd be like, yes, I am JFK. Yeah. And everyone and he was like, and yes, I'm immortal. It's wonderful. And everyone thought JFK was the immortal ruler, but everyone had known, the world thought that JFK was immortal, but it was just like 8 generations of clones or whatever, all in a row, 2 years apart, and and that came out later on too, of course, because eventually they ran out of like Jackie died or Jackie left basically, and then they couldn't they weren't using her anymore or whatever, and they lost access to the genetics laboratory. So eventually JFK started aging and started getting old. And it's like, well, I guess you're not immortal anymore. Yes, it goes away. I've decided to age. And it was just like so cheesy and so corny in 1940 and 1930. Like it's like, wow. And then you finally see all the other JFK clones, and then they're like, there are no twins in the world. There are no twins. All on TV. And this is all happening between 1930 and 1940. And it's just so fucking cheesy. And like I say, eventually it just ends in a headshot to JFK. And even then, clone Nixon lives past. And he's actually just as psychopathic as everyone else. More so, actually. And it's just all this big thing where we had cloning, but they were covering it up. We had cloning in 1850 or something like that, or 1820, and we definitely had cloning in 1920. So, but a bunch of people are lying about it. And realistically, the lie helps George W. Bush and all the others because they wanted into the White House and they wanted to live the lifestyle too. And it's just where the whole presidency is just a big sham. They're just lying about everything. And they realistically, like JFK was running around to Korea and everywhere else, in Japan and China. And JFK and Nixon were basically just terrorizing China and terrorizing North Korea, and then covering it up. And everybody knew. China's been saying for years, America attacked, and it wasn't even really America. It was actually, and even that is actually the USA people trying to make America look bad. And it's like, no, actually, America didn't attack. It was actually USA and Vietnam and all that other stuff and some other stuff left over JFK stuff. And they're trying to say like JFK was one man, blah blah blah, and he had sons and all this other stuff. And it's like, no, there were 8 generations of clones. And so just so ridiculous with everything. And they were trying to say JFK named America and all that stuff. And it's like, no, I named America. And actually JFK named America something else, and they had to change it back. And everybody voted on the name or whatever, or I just changed it. I don't know. So I was like, I don't give a fuck anymore. I do what I want. I'm Lucifer. I'm Lucifer Star, and I don't. It's just like, I don't really give a fuck. Why would I? We're on my giant space clock. On basically like the little hand of the giant space clock, and that's the big hand over there that's coming at us. And why would I care?